Hello, hello. Welcome back to SORMAG's Book Festival. This is day two, and we are on panel two, asking the authors anything about publishing. And today on our panel, we have Phyllis Wheeler and Mo Flames, and they are going to be showcasing I can't talk to them, showcasing what they do in self-publishing. So welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy Saturday.
Hello.
Well, I'm excited to have you here because I am going to be publishing some books next year. That's my goal, is to put them in print. But so much has changed since 2015 when I did it. So I would love to hear about your experiences. I know for one thing, I was using creative space, and now we all got pushed over to KDP. And I know one of the things that I heard with KDP is that the pricing went up for prints and stuff, and that it takes a little longer to get your books. So I know a couple of my clients were complaining about that their books were taking weeks instead of few. Sometimes when I published mine, I gave myself like 3 weeks because I said, well, I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to give me the book. And it ended up being even longer, and I had to let my people know that have pre-orders that I'll be getting there. I thought I was going to get them in a certain time, and they didn't come in the way I thought they would. So, have you all had issues with your getting your books when you want them, or are you working with KDP or Instagram Ingram Sparks? Are you using Ingram Sparks for your books?
Well, I'm using both of them because they Ingram gets into the bookstores and Kindle Amazon KDP does not. The bookstores actually hate Amazon, so they if your book is only on Amazon, your chance of being picked up by a bookstore is nil. So Ingram Spark is also gets you into the library system. So yeah, that's another thing that KDP can't do.
Yeah. I think the thing too, it's just been this is a new wave all the way around. There's new ways to get into the bookstores too. You don't always have to depend on Ingram Sparks, because now Ingram Sparks has learned, because there's new platforms, they have challenges. So people are saying, I don't like Ingram Sparks, but I'm going to figure out a way to get to my bookstore. People are talking to bookstore owners themselves. They're actually walking into Barnes and Noble and finding someone who works at Barnes and Noble, and actually getting someone who works at Barnes and Noble to get their books in. Like, I have a indie author. She's all through Maryland. She runs up and down the DMV. Pretty much that's her area. She will go into every single DMV and have all her books are there. All her books, her whole series. I think she has like 7 books in that series, and they're all on the shelves there. She's not printed through Ingram Sparks. She's strictly printed through KDP. So that's not necessarily that it's not untrue, but it's not necessarily true that you have to always have Ingram Sparks to get into the bookstores. She may not be.
Those are local bookstores to her or not?
It's local to her because she was able to go in to talk to someone and actually talk to someone she knew and be able to get them. She's not, when I say DMV, she only lives in Maryland, but she was able to get through all 3 locations, Maryland, Baltimore, and Virginia, because she was able to talk to someone internally who could actually put them on the shelves. They didn't have to go through Ingram Sparks. And I'm saying this even from my experience. My previous edition of my book was not in Ingram Sparks when it was in actual Barnes and Noble on the shelf there. So there's just ways around it. And because now you don't always have to depend on KDP, you now have Kobo. You print to Kobo. You can print through Barnes and Noble themselves. Have your book published on Barnes and Noble and have it printed. On-demand printing isn't what it means. Like, you don't get it on demand. You do have to wait. And as you said, there's that long period of time. I've actually had people who ordered for themselves, my readers. They got their books before I did. I'm like, I'm the actual one who wrote it. Why are you getting your books before me? Because that's just the way they work it. They'll get theirs before the actual author. So yeah, but there's ways around it if you find other places. Oh, and there's another one, Draft to Digital. Draft to Digital is also another platform that people are now using to print their books on demand. Lulu's still around too.
Before I go to the next question, I didn't give you a chance. I didn't ask my first question is to tell us a little bit about who you are, because I'm just talking to you like everybody knows you. So Mo, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and how long have you been self-publishing your book?
Sure. Mo Flames. I am a contemporary romance author. I write in the genres of white shoes, romantic suspense. Just have dabbled into some darker romance, some BDSM. I have been in this game since 06, 07, 08. Yeah, I say my first book was published under a small press publisher, and I stepped back out into this arena as a indie author in 2022 under my own company. So I do have the experience in that little area between both sides, being small press and then now by myself. And so that's kind of my history. So I've been around for a pretty decent amount of time.
Awesome. I'm Phyllis Wheeler. I entered the self-publishing scene in 2003. This is so long ago that it's like whatever I can tell you about back then is absolutely not happening. That's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I had a garage full of books and I was selling them. They were homeschool curriculum. They sold very well, and well, the marketing, well, in some ways, is still similar. I had an email list, and got people on it with a freebie and ran special deals and stuff like that. But anyway, so fast forward, I started writing fiction in about 2006, and then working on the craft of writing fiction took me a long time. But along the way, a friend and I set up a publishing company for other people's work. This we did this from 2013 to 2018. So for 5 years, we published other people's fiction, and I learned a whole lot about that. So if you have questions about contracts, agents, or whatever, I can possibly help you with that from based on that experience. And then I I published my first fiction book with a small press, a different small press, in 2021. And then since then, I've got two self-published books out. And I really like the self-publishing because I can control the covers and everything. And also, there's a little bit of profit margin in there for running like Amazon ads or some kind of ads that there isn't if you're giving um, royalties to your publisher, or they're giving whatever, they're keeping some money that makes your marketing budget very, very slim.
That was good. I wanted to ask that. You answered that. What do you like about self-publishing? So we'll ask Mo what is it she likes about self-publishing?
I have to echo that same thing. The rights. You really have a lot more flexibility on what it is that you can do for yourself. You're not waiting for someone to tell you technically when can you publish. There's more rights over your covers, your content even. I was told with that my small press publisher, my book would not go out under the publication because they didn't like the route I was going for my storyline. So I was like, okay, so what is my idea, but I cannot publish it? You're not going to publish it? Not under my name, you won't. I'm like, okay, wow, but it's my story. So to know that I have all the creative control over my stories. And then of course, if I want to, my cover, and then if I want to wake up in the middle of the night and drop it on Kindle Vella, I could. I don't have to ask, can I drop this or anything? So it's a lot of that. And then again, I'm not sharing the wealth. Because the more you start doing everything, the less the money starts to be there because you have to pay for all this stuff, editing, formatting. And then I have to break it down for you because you're my agent, because you're the publisher, because you're this. So there's a lot of that, and I echo the same thing about that. So there's just a lot more of the return that comes back to me on my investment, on my career, that I just think whenever you're sharing the wealth, sure, you might have a big distribution, engine that you could get it out to the masses. But when I look at the broader picture, I think I'm losing out when I don't have more control over this whole picture for myself.
So both of you were with small presses. What made you go to a small press first instead of publishing yourself?
Well, as opposed to a large press, like the big publishers are, they've got very specific ideas about what they want,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't quite fit in there, which I don't, well, too bad. And they have very few slots. Like let's say I don't know how many there are. Say 40 books get published in a year or something absurdly small because they have consolidated so much. There's only 5 of those big publishers now.
Mm-hmm.
So your chances of landing one of those spots is bad. And you also have to have an agent.
Yep.
Well, getting an agent is not easy and it
Mm-hmm.
takes forever.
Yeah.
And if you are impatient and don't, figure, well, I'm 71 years old. Do I have 10 years to look for an agent? No, I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, skip the agent and publish it myself.
Right. She's right. I mean, it's unfortunate the amount of work you have to do. Small press is a little bit easier. There's a little bit more flexibility. They don't hold your rights long as some of the bigger publishers do. There is that flexibility of how often you can publish books. I know a lot of them in lots of groups with some of the young ladies who are and men who are under some of the small press companies, and you're able to publish your books monthly. I mean, there are some authors who are phenomenal. They're prolific writers, and they're dropping books every month. Where maybe with the big traditional, the trad publishers, you're dropping a book every year. You're on a schedule. I had the opportunity to meet Tia Williams, who's a very well known New York Times bestseller, and she shared with us, no, you're on an actual schedule, and you have to wait till your turn. I mean, you have that time. Of course, you're getting advances, and sure, you have this salary, but your book is not going to drop. And you don't get to wake up and say, hey, I'm doing this. But to answer your question, why not? It was because it was easier for me. This person came and said, hey, I can publish your book for you. Would you like to have your book published? A small press probably has a little bit more of the flexibility to get the book out versus trad has so many people. They have a lot of people. And like she's saying, they're agents. There's a group of editors. It's a machine. It's a different type of machine, and they just know what they want. And I think we all know that particular business is ran a different way. Small press it's a lot less of the red tape. Some of the contracts are a lot easier to navigate. You can get out of when I say get out of the contract, they're just not as long. You can actually get the rights back to your stories. If you get into a really good one, you can get the stories back maybe in 5 years if you're with them, or less time, and be able to become or hybrid. They call them hybrid sometime, where you can still publish your books by yourself and just, hey, here's a couple of stories you can have of mine, but I still want to publish these stories as well. So it just depends. But yeah, that's why I kind of did it. It was the time like, hey, I didn't have the money, but you want to publish my books? Go ahead. Thank you.
How do you? The question I wanted to ask you about. What are some mistakes that you've seen people who self-publish do that you would tell a new person not to do?
Don't come out here without your books being edited.
That's all.
I know we didn't get the editing panel, but I mean, I wished I would have done that one with you. I'd say I'd jump on that one. I do feel as I think this is the easiest part, believe it or not. Publishing it's for free. As an indie author, I tell a lot of the authors that are out here, this is for free. Publishing a book is for free. If I woke up, you go to bed tonight, Phyllis or LaShonda or anybody watching, and you have an idea and say, hey, I want to publish that book, you can. Because I just told you, you go on KDP, you go on Kobo, you go anywhere you want, and you just log on with a PDF. You have everything you need. But here's the flip side. If your book has not been edited by a editor, or maybe your cover is not that appealing, that's the downside. So my advice would just be to make sure that you've had your book properly edited before you publish it. That's my first advice.
And the cover is also critical.
Definitely.
Critical. So both of those things.
Both of those things. It has to be appealing to the eye, because people just keep scrolling.
Yeah.
It's not a nice cover. I'll keep going.
It has to be a cover that speaks to the readers of your genre.
Yeah.
That's what a good cover does. It snares those readers, not any other readers.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Good
That's
point.
very important too, because I learned that with my book, the title kind of was interesting, and then I think the covers was saved it because I had building online relationships, and then I had a tagline that says one reader at a time, and so my friend said she had it on her table at home, and her husband came by and he's like, "You're building relationships. What is you doing?" He saw the computer and stuff, and he was like, "Are you looking for a new man?" You know. And then he finished reading it. And he was like, "Oh, okay, okay, it's about for readers." Okay, and it made me think about what if I hadn't
Mhm,
had that tagline. This
mhm.
dude would be thinking his wife was trying to get her a new man online, you know.
Right,
And so
right.
it's very important. Titles are very important, and that cover, the way the
Yeah,
cover looks, is so very important because um that's what they see first.
yeah.
You know, the reader
Mhm.
sees that first, and if it doesn't grab them, they're not gonna go and flip the back to see if it's something
Oh
that
no. And
you
most
know.
people don't read the back. And most people
It's
don't read the believe it or not, most people don't. I because I've done a number of signings, that's usually where the point people really flip the book over to read what's on your book. That's what I've seen the most. But they won't do it when they're actually scrolling because they don't have the book to flip over. So it's
Mhm,
really that first impression. And I was going to say the advice you could do in your genre, look at the top 10 on Amazon.
mhm,
Look at those covers. If those covers are what is selling or what's grabbing the people's attention, that's kind of the cover you would want to start to think about putting on the front of your books. Not necessarily the titles, but the title's catchy. But you want to make sure if I'm writing a romance or I'm writing a fantasy, I wouldn't put a romance cover on a fantasy cover. I wouldn't put a fantasy cover on a romance, or unless I'm writing a fantasy romance,
mhm.
romantic fantasy. But again, you would look at that top 10 that's on there and decide, hey, yeah, I think I want to find someone who could design a cover that's going to be similar to what I see at the top 10.
I think we ought to talk about editing a bit because that is actually the most critical thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it really makes or breaks your book.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have a good editor or the right editor, you can end up, wasting a lot of time and money on something that doesn't sell.
Mm-hmm.
So the question would be, how do you find a good editor or the right editor for you?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
uh, my
Looking.
my thought is, well, word of mouth, the people
Mm-hmm.
that hopefully you're making friendships with people who write in your genre.
Mm-hmm.
So ask them who they use.
Yep.
And typically editors will offer kind of a little intro freebie for you. So like if somebody you haven't worked with before, you send them the first 5 pages of your manuscript and they will do something with it for free to you
Mm-hmm.
to show you what they can do. So
Yeah.
you send that off to several people and choose one and work with them. And if you sometimes the writer doesn't really know whether the editor has done a good job because they don't have the right background. So you're going to
Yeah.
have to maybe ask some of your writer friends to help you. Like, is this a good job or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just because somebody is an editor and edited your stuff doesn't mean they've turned it into something good.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
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 I think you also need to know what type of editor you need.
I was
I
going to
know
say that.
a
Yep.
lot of people, and I want to talk about budget because a
Mhm.
lot of people they jump into this, they don't have a budget, and
Mhm.
then editing is what they skimp on
Yeah.
because they're like, "Well, I don't got $1,000, I can't do that." And
Mhm.
I'm gonna raise my hand. I was that person. That's why some of my books still in the closet because I was like, "Oh, I can't afford what they're asking for right now." But
Mhm.
what I learned was that if you find the right editors, you can be on their budget plan. You know,
Exactly.
I've
Payment plans.
yeah,
Payment
I get
plans and
payment plans, and
mm,
that saved me a lot because when you're looking at $1,200, you're saying to yourself, "I can't spend $1,200. you're trying to feed your family. And you're like, this is
Right.
just a hobby. I don't got $1,200. But when you look at a person and she says, hey, we can break that up. You want to do it over 6 months? You want to do it over a year? We can do that. Then it's small bite size. I think for me, that was what was scary to me. I saw that big number and I'm like, how am I going to justify that to my family? When I ain't making a dime off of this yet,
Right.
And so
Right.
when the lady gave me the plan, I was like, okay, I make some money. I got to sell some ads. I got to do this. I got to go, help somebody do something to make some money and pay for this. And one of the things I tell my clients is that you need a budget. Don't come out here. Even if you, one of my friends, she told me, she said, if you save $10 every pay period till you get your money, then you got your money, And
Right.
people, I'm going to get my book out this year, but they don't have the funds to get, people say that it's free. It is free to publish, but
Right.
to get to the publish, you have to pay. You have to have a budget for that. And a lot of people pay for editors, but they don't know which editor they need.
Right.
You need the developmental, you have the copy editor, you got a line editor, and then you get that proof editor, the proofreader. And most people miss that because they just, I need, this is the one I get all the time from people is that my mother was an editor, was an English teacher. Read over my stuff for me and then I can put it out there. And I'm like, does your mother read what you write? Well, no, but she's an English teacher. Unless you write in a newspaper, and even in a newspaper writing, you still have a different type of editor.
Of course.
So, and so they think, oh, well, and then when they put it out there, the readers, because let me tell you, just because you are a reader, people think just because, oh, it's just a reader, they ain't. Look, some of them probably was English teachers. They gonna come back.
Right. No, but to go back,
right. That's not a sentence.
Right. But to go back to something you were saying, and I want to, make sure I don't miss that part, because two things. So one, I'm going to encourage, if it is a hobby for you, then definitely do a budget. Either way, do a budget. But if it's a hobby, you certainly want to make sure you look at this in a different way. Because for me, it's not a hobby. It's something that one day I'm replacing what I do. And I always try to say I'm looking at 7 streams of income, because you can't think about it as a book or books. This is an authorship of things that you have to, it goes into something. Like when we were discussing last night, it's a series. I've created a world within a world of Atlanta. So when people read this book, all my books are connected. They're all connected. When you read one book, you're going to find this person is connected to this book. So I don't write books just to write books. I write books that are connected to each other. That was just my choice. Once I started writing, it became a whole world to me. So that's just me. And then from there, it's like, I'm thinking the merchandise. So if I make a shirt, or if I make if I'm giving you a pen, or I'm giving you something else, or I'm creating that, it's all within this world. Everything is tied together, because when I'm watching other authors who've done it before me, thinking, oh, how did they do this? There's one author I love. She has she calls it her world. She named it after herself. And I'm looking and I go through her stuff and I'm like, this is an amazing thing that she did. And you can't look at it as chasing money, but you also have to look at it as, if you're going to do something you enjoy doing, then it needs to bring the income to you. You have to look at it that way. And if that's the way you're looking at it, let's look at it from the perspective, where are you with your personal finances? Because this is going to become a business. So yeah, that budget is going to come into play. How much are you looking to spend for everything? You have to know ranges and do your homework. Don't be afraid to Google. Google's a great place to start. They tell you everything. How much does it cost for me to get my stuff edited? You can find inexpensive editors who can do something as small as the grammar part. You can find an editor who can do something as simple as that, the development. But I think developmental editing is a whole nother ball game, and you will have to do your research. You really will have to do extensive research, because that's someone who will pull your book apart and tell you, hey, your story is aligned or your story isn't aligned. And you have to be ready to hear that. I mean, you have to have a strong skin to hear, hey, your book needs work. Maybe you have some plot holes here. We need to tie up here. What were you trying to do here? And not just say, oh yeah, you don't have any misspelled words. No, your sentence structures are fine. No, because that is not a developmental editor. A developmental editor will tell you when your story started at point A and your story developed all the way to point B and your ending is here. Now, when we're at the end, do you plan on taking this book anywhere else? Because my editor, my developmental edit, I found out I had 3 stories within a story. That's why I told you my book was totally different. I literally had subplots after subplots after subplots. The readers could see the development happening in the book with the readers. Like, with the characters. Oh my gosh, you mean to tell me your characters had things going on within the book? A developmental editor can see that. Someone who's just saying, hey, okay, that's nice. I liked your book and you didn't misspell anything, you would want to run for the hills. They should be catching things in your book that you're writing. Because believe me, and I know Phyllis can agree with me, and LaShonda, you're really diving into this when you talk about what you're writing. We literally regurgitate everything we're thinking. So if I'm regurgitating everything I'm thinking, that means there's somewhere that does not make sense. I've said something that doesn't make sense. And I need an editor to bring that back. And what did you mean by when you said this over here? Did you mean to tell them this over here? More than likely you didn't, because you were just writing. You were just getting things off your chest and out of your mind. And a really good developmental editor will help you bring your story together, because there's no way you could be upstairs doing this and when you come downstairs, you've already done something else. What happened to the transition?
So I think it's a really good idea to belong to a writers organization.
Yep.
Because you can talk to other writers and find out who's got a good developmental editor.
Yeah.
And you can show people your work and they can give you some feedback, so you have some idea. I can guarantee that if you've never done that, you're going to be, surprised that that what you write isn't ready for prime time. But it's all a matter of readiness, It's not that it's bad. It's just not ready yet.
Right.
And you have to be open-minded to hear that, because I get a lot of people that come to me and they want me to help them with their writing. And the first thing when they say this to me, well, God gave me this, and I go, okay. And I already know who that person gonna be. That person gonna tell me God gave me this, and then they don't want to hear nothing else.
Right.
It's not gonna change. And I'm like, well, God gave us editors
to save you.
Yeah, to save you from that, And so, my book is 500,000 words, and it's not saying nothing. Editor's gonna help you get to that meat, to where you need to be at, And I'm not paying that. And this is the other thing I hear too. And please don't think this all the time, but people say this all the time. Well, I don't trust people. If I give them my stuff, they might steal my book. No. Nobody tries to steal your book. No. Especially an editor. Most editors usually don't want to be
writers, right? Most
they just like
writers. They just like to read and help. They really are. I've learned that. And I've also learned, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not going to ever discredit that, because I have heard the horror stories and I've been in the group of the horror stories. But it is very far and few in between that people can get away with it. And it's the reason why you should copyright your things. But typically, that person just, you have to kind of put down your guard just a little bit and know, hey, if I give this, I know that this person is not me. I know this person can't do it the way I can do it. And these are my words, and trust that, okay, if I do this with this person, hopefully, like Phyllis said, I didn't even think to say that, but if you're in groups or organizations, people are typically certified, or they've gone through some sort of, gotten a certificate, or they've done enough that they're not going to screw up and mess up their, reputation by, doing you dirty and messing up, your, or doing you wrong. We have some stories that people have done things wrong, but for the most part, I think they go in with the right mindset and say, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be professional and not screw you over. But I think that's the problem. We go in, I'm not going to share this because I don't want anyone to steal my thoughts. And it's like, but those are your most raw thoughts. They're rough, and Phyllis said it right. It's like, no. So we're smooth.
Not ready for the public.
It's not ready for it needs more refinement, believe it or not. it's very rough and crunchy. It needs to be smoothed out. So I like to think of it that way. Like that's why a lot of people are afraid to share their work because it's so rough. You know, it's like first thing I thought of, I'm giving it to you. I spend more time re-editing my own work. I think that's my problem. I re-edit my work so much that I'm so afraid to give it to my editor. She's like, "Where's your?" I'm like, "I'm not giving you this. I'll give it to you when I've edited about 3 times. Then I'll give it to you." She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "No."
That's how I am. I'm the same way. My editor called me. Hello. It's Friday. You supposed to have something up by Saturday. I'm like, no, it's not. Then I'll send it to her, and she goes, I know what you need. You need some conflict. And she goes, "You're too nice." She always says this.
Yeah,
to me.
we said that last
You're
time.
too nice.
Conflict.
You need some conflict, and I'm like, I just want them to be in love. She's like, "Girl, please."
Yeah, no, they can be in love after. They can make up, but give them some conflict to
She
make
always
up
say,
for.
"You got to tear them apart," and I used to say, "Oh, I hate that," but now I realize that's what the readers want. It's not what LaShonda wants. It's not about what LaShonda wants. It's what the reader wants. Nobody want to read about they so lovey-dovey. They won't know what happened between that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they want the lovey-dovey, but they want the conflict and then bring them back. It's like tear them apart to bring them back together.
Yeah,
That's like
I had a hard time learning that one because that's what I hate. I'm like, I hate them tearing them. Can't they just be together?
Well, you don't have a story if you don't have
Right,
conflict.
right.
You
That's
have
what
to have
she told me.
conflict.
Gotta have
You
conflict.
gotta have
No
the
story.
conflict. You gotta
Yeah.
have the conflict. So that's what I'm learning about it. So what are some tools that we need to be a good self-publisher? What do we need?
Okay, let's see. There's a lot out there too. Phyllis, you want to go ahead and go first? Because I'm
Well,
thinking. You said no.
so you got your editor.
Yeah, you got your editor.
You got your person who's going to do your covers.
Yeah.
Um,
Formatters. If you know.
your formatting. Yeah, I do my own formatting. So if you can learn how to do that, that's
And I guess the programs
saving.
you need. You got Vellum. You got Attica. Because I have to hire someone because I don't have the patience to learn those 2 programs. So
Well, a friend of mine just self-published a book, and he found somebody to do it on Fiverr.
Yep.
He didn't charge very much. I think he was
Right.
over in India or somewhere.
Yep.
So
Fiverr's a resource. So yeah.
right, yeah, you want for book layout or your covers, yeah. But you need to about a cover. You can put cover designs on Facebook and ask your friends to pick one.
Yep. And see
Yeah.
which one gets more, which
Right.
one do you think is better? Because I've done that before, stick it in my group and say, hey, out of these, which one is the better one? And they've done that before. My readers have picked out the covers for me.
Yeah, if your readers, people who are reading in your genre can pick out your covers, that's good. And or you can do that with with an ad that's targeted to those readers.
Yeah.
Then you'll have a good idea because sometimes the best the cover that sells isn't the one that you like.
Right. Oh, some editing softwares. When I say editing, I mean while you're writing, I mean publishing, but I think to help you before you get to find an editor, I've used Grammarly, I've used Quillbot, ProWriter Aid. Well, you have your platforms. You have KDP. You have you mentioned it earlier. You have Ingram Sparks. You have Kobo, you have Drafted Digital, you have Lulu, you have so many different places now to publish your book. You can publish it on Google Play. Google Play is a platform to publish now. I'm thinking some other softwares or things. I'm just trying to think of all the things that I've used as of recently because I have a book coming out in 2 weeks. That's why I told you last night I had to get off so I could hear me finish some more edits.
The marketing part is the hardest part.
Definitely the marketing part. You have to be visible. You have to be consistent. You have to be on, and that's the thing that I think changed from when one of my books was out in 2008. We only had MySpace, and I'm saying MySpace because that's where I was always. That's where I was doing my blogs and stuff. And then outside, all the venues I did, the big one at at Jacob Javits Center. I was up in New York, and we at Jacob Javits Center for the big events, the Harlem Book Fair. And and after that, I moved to Atlanta, and then there was the event down here, and then I didn't hear of any other ones until I came back out into the indie world. And I'm seeing like so many different events every year. You have Stimulant Conference, there's so many, it's too many to name. But now you have multiple social media platforms. You have LinkedIn, you have Instagram, you have Facebook. You now have a big one that the you say TikTok. If you don't say TikTok, people are looking at you sideways, because it is literally where these book nerds reside at. They go on there and they find books. That is like their job, to find the next best book on Book Talk. I mean, Coho, whatever she did that year for herself and made it big, and there have been some other authors after her. But I've seen authors that are along the same lines as I am, where it's like, okay, we started around the same time and they dropped a couple of books and write in their comments all the way their reviews. TikTok sent me, TikTok sent me, TikTok sent me, and this book is amazing. TikTok sent me. And all it is that you went to a social platform and shared all about your book days, weeks, months before the book came out, engaging with the readers, talking to them about it, getting them excited about the book coming out, sharing. Like, I'm learning that process. And that's the thing that I didn't have back then, learning how to market the book, saying like, okay, here, these are the things that you'll learn about. And that's why I was sharing now about my world. Like, now, every time I write a book, you're going to find out it's full circle. You meet this character, that character is tied to this character, that's tied to this character. And then you're like, wait a minute, I remember that. Or I didn't read that book. Well, you need to go back all the way back that book, because that book came out in '08. Oh my God. Yeah, read that book, because that's the whole mess back there. Then now they're in my multiverse, and they're like, oh gosh, these books are amazing. They're stuck in the multiverse and they don't want to get out. When is the next one coming? So it's exciting to do that. But you're right, the marketing aspect of it is hard, because people think, okay, I wrote a book, buy my book. And it's not that easy. It's not just buy my book. It's buying the experience. What's the experience coming into your world, whether it's nonfiction or fiction? What are they getting being with you? Who are you? Who is Phyllis? Who's LaShonda? Who's Mo Flames? What am I getting out of coming into your world, your mind, and understanding what you're putting out? Because I can tell you all day I wanted to be a writer, and tell you my story of how I wanted to be a writer. Stephen Cannell, at the end of every show, pull out that sheet of paper, I'm gonna be just like him. And then I started reading the whole. I'm paging everybody's story, like, she's not gonna die like that. She's not gonna be. Oh, she needs to go through this. I told y'all, watched a lot of soap operas, and I'm like, there's no happily ever after. That's impossible. Let me change her whole life, changing women's lives that had this uber fine man, and I would just change her whole life. And I'm thinking, I could write stories like this one day, and not know this is not how it works. These stories that my mom's taking me to thrift stores and libraries and thinking they're all around here. That's not how this works. My book is not going to show up in everybody's store. My book is not going to be found everywhere. I'm saying, yeah, my book is going to be everywhere. I published the book. My book was nowhere but at my house. You get my book. No one knows where my book is. No one knows where my book is at. And it's like, wait, so I got to do it? Yes, you have to do it. So yeah, you're right, Phyllis. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to get on these platforms and talk to people like this right here. This right here is a way to market. Being everywhere, the opportunity to be seen and talk about who you are, talk about your books, and share with other people your journey. And then that way people get to say, well, now I know who you are. I like what you have. I want more of that. Give me that. Because on top of your books are good, I like you as a person. I want more.
And I think that's the difference from now and 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you never met the author unless you went to a book signing. You never had a conversation with her. I wrote letters myself. They would write back, but most authors, they were way up high. You were never going to meet them like, a celebrity or something. And now the readers, they feel like they want that connection. And if you're not making that connection, they're going to move on to the person that is making a connection. And a lot of people miss that because they're like, I hate social media. I don't want to do even. I had someone tell me she'd been writing for 8 years and she never went to an event. She never did book signing. And I was like, how did you get past that? And she goes, I don't like doing those. I think that she was about making the content, making the product, meeting things like that. But I think that what listening to her talk, her biggest issue was she didn't make the connection. So every
Mm,
time she put out a new book, she's starting all over again because
mm.
she didn't have the email list. She started to make her big
Um,
email list now, but she was just putting it on KU and thinking KU was gonna find the people.
right, right.
And the ones who make the connections, readers know, okay, she said she gonna put out 4 books a year. They got it on their calendar. So and so Mo Flame's book is coming out in September. I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
excited about it. I'm ready for it. She's talking about it in her group. I'm excited about it. Whereas that person who just writing the books and throwing them up there. I had a client, she had 8 books on KU and wasn't making any money. And I was like, it's something missing. What are you not doing? What are you not doing? And she wasn't promoting. That's like
Right.
writing and putting it up there. Well, KU does not send you into anybody unless you're selling. If you're
Yeah.
selling, then they start introducing you to people and sending stuff out.
Right.
But if you're not making any money at all, you're down at the bottom of the barrel. So they ain't
Right.
pushing you up because why would they push you up if you're down at the bottom?
Oh
People on
yeah.
top who stay on top because they stuff is moving. And you have to. My friend told me I had to put on a persona, be somebody else. She called me social Madam Butterfly. Be Madam Butterfly. You don't have to be LaShonda. But for today, you Madam Butterfly, and you getting out there and letting people know who you are. You have to come
Mm-hmm.
out of your comfort zone when you're a writer because we're used to being in our little cubby and writing and stuff. We're not used to talking to people. We're not. Do you know how many times it's hard for me to get somebody to come on a podcast? Unless video, they ain't never doing video. you know, but you have to come out your comfort zone, especially if you're not leaving home. If
Yeah.
you're not leaving your house and you're not doing social media, how do the readers know you exist?
Right.
They
Right.
don't.
They don't. And I mean, it was easier. I was the same way. I thought like but why do I have to show my face? They just need to buy my book. My books are good. Just
Right.
read my book. And then I realized, no, they want the connection and I get it. And I mean, but here's the crazy part. I go in these spaces and I turn on I'm very much an extroverted introvert. Like I go out and I'm very much outspoken, have fun, sociable. I'm my tank is drained though. I come back, my battery is completely drained. I have to recharge. I'm like a hermit for weeks after that. But I have so much fun and I turn on because I love people when I'm out and I enjoy talking about my books because I'm so passionate about my characters. They're my babies. I made them. They're in my head. So to hear me talk about them and see the readers who are right there with me mad at my characters, like, why did you make him like that? I hate him. Why? And I'm like, girl, or listen, this is it. And they're like, but I hate him, but I like him. Oh my God, he's such a babe. And I'm like, I know. And just to hear all of that, and even I get emails and text me. I have went back and forth to one lady. She was sending me voice notes on Instagram. I'm like, what's your? So I just want to let you know I'm mad at you today. And I'm like, what I do to you? She's like, because you made him like this. Like, why would she do this? And I mean, I got tagged on Facebook. She was like, oh, why would she go to his house and she got all her degrees? I was like, what? She said, since you got your 2 degrees. I was like, yeah, you're right. That was a dumb move. But but it felt good because I knew they were invested in the characters and to engage with them and go back and forth. Like you said, we didn't have that back then where we could talk to. I remember I wanted to meet Zane so bad
Mm.
and didn't know who the heck she was. And when I went to Jacob Javits Center, she was right there. I said, oh my God, you're Zane! She was like, okay. She said, okay, it's nice to meet you. But you don't understand, you're Zane. And she's like, yes, I know I'm Zane. So it was, and moving on, other authors I do, I'm like, I fangirl and get excited. I'm like, but you weren't touchable back then. No one could touch you guys. And it's like now they're right here with us and we get to talk to them. And here I am doing the same thing. And people who see me are like, oh my God, I had a fangirl, 2 people fangirl me. And I'm like, I have fans. Oh my God. Someone just gonna say, I follow you. Can I take a picture with you? And I'm like, okay. And another girl, she was like, she said, I think I have that book. And then when she realized, she's like, oh, you're the author. I need your books. And I'm like, okay. And so she's like, she bought the books and she's so excited. I'm sitting here and I had a live later that day and I'm telling my followers that day. And I'm like, you guys, I live for that moment. Like, here I've been marketing, and again, my storyline was what it was. I came out under a small press, and it wasn't the best relationship, but here I am as an indie author, and this is what you live for, that you have one day to see your books read by people who enjoy what you're writing, good or bad. I would say this, good or bad, because I'll put it this way: if you said something bad about my book, it's probably because it's the trope. You don't like the trope. Because my editors are bomb. Like I said, I pay for my editors, they're bomb. Like there's like no, if you find an error here, email at info@flames.entertain, we'll fix it. But I mean, I pride myself on that these people love what I wrote. They fell in love with the characters, they fell in hate with the characters, and they're, like I said, invested in this multiverse. And we've had in depth like this. We got on a Zoom. I was on a Zoom with about 8 women, and we got into an in-depth conversation about these characters. Like, why would a woman do this if she's so intelligent? I mean, she's business smart, but then she does something stupid like this, Mo. How could you? And I'm like, it's not me, it was her. I'm just the author. But you wrote her. I know, but there's plenty of other women out here who do that. Yes, she's right, because I have a cousin, and I said, see? So people relate to all of this, and I love that, because then I find those people, and those are my jewels, and those are my gems, and I share that with other readers, and I'll get the email. I need to talk to you about your character. Sure, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. So, but going back to what Phyllis said, the marketing aspect, you have to get out here and get in front of the people, and find a way to get the books out, because you just sitting behind your computer as much as you want to, because I do too. I just want to write. I literally just want to stay behind this computer, never ever come from behind it and show my face and hope people find the books. That's just not how it works. It's just not how it works. It's just not how it works.
If it did, we all would be rich and be done.
Yeah, we'd be all filled
with a big pile of money. It'd be so great.
Yes. Oh God, I make so much money.
So great, so great. Oh man, this has been a great conversation. I've enjoyed the stories. I have been I'm on Clubhouse, so I've been in a couple of rooms, and we've had big debates on using an ISBN or using the platform's ISBN. So what do you guys feel about that? Are you into buying your own ISBN, or do you use the platforms you're publishing on ISBN?
Oh, I do both.
Mm-hmm.
I use an ISBN that I purchased for my flagship book, the one that is the book of my heart and my series. And then I use these other ones for the audio book or whatever, the little short story that I wrote or whatever.
Yeah. Because the rule of thumb is that for ebooks, you don't need them. You're wasting the ISBN number for it, because each platform offers you their own. Because you can't take what you did on Draft to Digital, take it to Amazon and Amazon to wherever. So if you're publishing it there, you could just use their their E or the ASIN. But for your paperbacks, you need that social security. I call it the social security number. So I purchased mine. So even when I go on to any of them, which I've only published my paperbacks through, I have one. My first book was done through Ingram, and I rarely ever push it out of there. But those are the only two that I've used my actual I still use them, but my ISBN is linked to them because I just don't want theirs. Because if anything, I could just take it off, because I sell my book off my website. You know what I'm saying? That's mine. That's my book. It's not your book. It's mine. So I like to do that. And for some parts I am wide. For some books I am wide. Not all my books. Some books are under their Kindle Unlimited, for various reasons. But that was the other reason why, if I wanted to take my book out of Kindle, I can, and take it wherever I want to. That was my reason. So yeah, it's always a conversation, a debate, but the ebook, you shouldn't I wouldn't waste my ISBN when they're giving it to you for free. I wouldn't. That's good
to know. I didn't look at it like that. I knew for print, because I went wide with my book. So I knew for print, but I didn't know that all the other platforms gave your ISBN too. If you got you went Barnes and Noble or went Kobo, I didn't know that. So that's something new to me. But let's talk a little bit about why before we get out of here. So, Phyllis, you put your books on KU. Why did you decide not to go wide?
Well, no, I was delaying going wide.
Mm-hmm.
So when you first start out with a book, it doesn't have a following yet. KU can be helpful, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I put it on there because I wanted to offer my launch team the opportunity for a free download of the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that they could, so I'd already given them the book to read before launch. So they read it, but I didn't want them to post their Amazon review unless they were a verified buyer. And I didn't want to require them to buy the book. That seemed a little, not
Mm-hmm.
so hospitable.
Yeah.
So I put it in KU so that I could offer it for free for 2 days, soon after launch, for these people. And so then when it comes around to, after 3 months, I think you can get it out. So that's my plan. Get it out after
90 days. Yeah.
I like that strategy. That's a good strategy to do.
It's a very good strategy.
Like you said that because the KU readers are a whole different ballgame than Y readers. And I think some people miss that because they thinking, oh, I'm gonna go KU and then I'm gonna go wide. And then all my KU people are gonna come with me. And I'm like, most of them won't, because that's why they're in there, because they know they can get 50 and 30, 50 books a month if they want to. They're not gonna come wide with you, so you gotta speak. A lot of people have a hard time because then they got to start all over again building readership. So you have to really, that's a good point to think about is, do you want to jump into the KU field and deal with it depends on how many books you're going to be bringing out. If you're going to bring out a lot of books, if you're going to do something, release something monthly, KU is great. But if you're going to do something once a year, you might think about going wide. So that's something else to think about when you're self-publishing, is where do you want your book to be? Where, do you want it only on Amazon, or do you want it at other places? And a lot of people, they don't think about that. They just, I'm just going to publish on Amazon. And then, like you said, well, I want my books in libraries, and a lot of libraries might not go to Amazon. I know a lot of bookstores don't go. And then I found out after I published on Amazon that a lot of people hate Amazon.
Yeah.
I would rather buy my book from you. And so I sold a lot of print copies because people refuse to go to Amazon and buy the book from there. And so you have to take that into consideration too. And a lot of people don't talk about that, but that is very important when you're publishing yourself. Who are your readers? Where do you want your book to be? And how do you want them to buy it? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I ain't into audio. And I'm like, well, you really think about audio, because that's where a lot of people are moving to, audio. And so, it's a little bit expensive, but it's something that you should have on your table you're thinking about, because you want to reach every reader that's out there. You don't want to leave nobody under the table mad at you and moving on to somebody else because you're not offering what they like.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, you just have to do I think you have to be prepared to do everything. I think that's just the bottom line. You have to be flexible and be prepared to look at every single aspect, because my first book is in audio. They're in production for the second book, and I'll roll it out as it goes and see how everything, and it does well. And that particular series is wide. That's my one series that's wide. The book that's coming out on the 13th, that one's going to be under KU. There's another one under KU. The rest of the books are all wide because of that same thing. I don't purchase my books off of Amazon. That's what I heard a few times, but it's okay. To what Phyllis said, I was a newbie author. No one knew who I was. And here I was trying to find them all. Like, hey, I wrote a book. Buy my book. And it's like, okay, are you under KU? No. How much is your book? Oh, okay. It was like, that changed the whole topic. Like, So why you asking about your book? Because it ain't under KU. I don't get to swipe that thing in here and read for free. I'm like,
Don't be talking about $12.99. I'm gonna see you when I see you.
you know, $1.99 they get funny. 99 cents they get funny. It got to be on that read for free. Press that button. So yeah, so I mean, and I think that, but for a lot of authors, and I'm gonna back this up to bring you shed some light into this conversation, because I'm in a lot of groups, and I'm in groups for one that's on Facebook. You can look it up, Why for When. I'm in 20 books to 50K. I just came from that big conference in Las Vegas. We're talking about these things, and we're talking about authors going wide, and going wide is not an overnight success, FYI. Going wide is something that is for the long run. Okay. You're going to do that anywhere from 2 to 3, maybe 5 years, because you are building up your brand and your readership. These are people that you're basically getting close to. As you said, if they want that book, they're coming to you because it's an experience. That means I'm here at my house, and if I know it's LaShonda's birthday, I'm putting together a whole LaShonda Hoffman package because I know it's LaShonda. We built up a relationship. I'm building up everything for Phyllis Wheeler because I know we have a relationship. That's typically what why authors know that's what they're doing. They have a machine, they're doing it that way, and they're doing it from everywhere. Like I have a Shopify store. I have so much stuff. I've set it so I can do it that way. Hey, you want to buy the ebook, you still can buy it from me. You click that button, you download it, it goes right to your e-reader. It's no different from when you're doing it on Amazon because it still has to download to your e-reader. So I mean, it's but it has to be you teaching your readers that what you're doing here, you've just gotten to know, you've gotten to trust, know, like, and love Amazon. You're going to learn to trust, know, like, and love me eventually. So that's kind of what, you know what I mean? That's kind of where you're going with some of these readers, just getting to that standpoint. Because at the end of the day, that's all it is. It became the big guy. Just, hey, everyone started buying everything from them until they realized, hold on, it's not a thief here. It's a thief in our mix. And that's why people started changing their mindset. I don't know if I want to go over here and put all my books with them because now I'm in a pot. And when I look how much that pot gets, I don't really get what I deserve to get out that pot. So,
and then they can kick you out anytime they want.
And you can have all your money in there.
Yeah, I've seen people say that too.
That's a hurtful thing, and that's why I say I feel like a baby author. I've been in a room with these 6-figure authors, and I'm talking about they're showing, hey, I for the first time made $8,000 this month, and then they closed my KDP account. I don't know what to do. They telling me I can't open it. I'm sorry, say what?
And they keep
and
your
them
money.
Royalties ain't.
You don't get nothing.
I will burn every Amazon warehouse down for the 8th. but I mean, that's how they make you feel. Like, are you kidding me? You could shut it down and you have no access to it, and they don't care. Like, and
there's nothing that you can fight because that's in the fine print of the contract.
You can, but good luck with that. Good luck with that. I mean, I wish you well. May the odds be in your favor. I mean,
everybody I know, they ain't get their money back. It's about 10 to 15 people. Nobody.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why I said may the odds be in your favor. I've only seen about 2, and I've been in these groups for a while, and I mean, I've seen a couple, but it ain't been. May the odds be in your favor. So yeah, but I think you could try, but and that's been my fear, and that's why I try my best. I do my best to abide by KDP's rules and regulations, and don't fool around with them too much. I will say my first I don't think I have a copy down here, but they shadow banned me because of one of my covers, and I had to redo it. So it's the 3rd edition. I have in my series. I had to redo the cover because I kept saying nobody can find me. I'm on the platform, and they're like, "We can't find your book anywhere." And I'm like, "What you mean you can't find my book anywhere?" So I called them up, and they're like, "Oh, it's your cover." Oh, it's my cover. What's wrong with my cover? Oh, it's like right here on the borderline of pornographic. I said, all she has is lingerie and shit in a hotel room. That's suggestive.
They very picky. They very picky.
But you let these men out here with their buff chest on the cover. Okay. I ain't gonna say nothing. But it was part of the learning process. So now I said I'm going to objects. I'm gonna put objects on there. I'm put like we talk about that door. I'm put a door. Like
Not
what?
that, not that door, but a door.
Put that door be a fancy, nice size door with a big handle on the front. So,
Mhm.
but anyway, it's a nice handle you got.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Look at us. We done got to the end, lady. This has been great. I hope everybody got some good tips. I did. I'm always asking all the questions so I can be ready. I'm gonna be ready in 2024. I'm ready.
I just want to say thank you for doing this again, LaShonda, because I know last year you had a different, you
Yeah.
said
I was
something
I was
different.
ready to write books, but I realized
I know. I'm so glad you decided to do it again. I was excited to see that SORMAG was coming back. That's why I hopped on. I said, did you see me? I said, I don't have no panel. You said, did you sign up for a panel? I was like,
no,
well, let me
I've
sign
been
up for a
here.
couple. Jump on a panel or two. I like
All
panels.
right.
I
I
like doing that.
appreciate you being on the panel. Tell us how we can reach you guys online.
Oh, like my name says, Mo Flames. I am that one that leaves fire between the sheets. Literally, I am everywhere on all platforms. You name it, I am there. Just type in Mo Flames. I have a newsletter. Please sign up for the newsletter. That's where you find out everything I'm doing, where I'm going to be, what I got going on. I have a book coming out in another week and a half, Reckless Desire. Please, that one's going to be on KU, so you can read it for free. So, but that's me.
And I'm Phyllis Wheeler. My website is phylliswheeler.com, which you can't remember how to spell Phyllis, and just Google it, and it should come up. And yeah, I write kids' books, time travel books for kids, and I would love to have you on my newsletter if you want to see what's happening next. So I just published a book November 1st, and I'm working on the next one, hoping for sometime late spring maybe to publish it.
Happy release day. Bless you. Happy release day.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm thinking because they're small books, so being kids chapter books, I think for the third book I'll probably have a big splash. But if you get on my newsletter, I'll tell you all about what my plan is. But right now, I'm still struggling with the end of the book, so I'm just stuck in this trough.
That's the best part. You get to talk to us in our newsletter. We tell you all the crap that we're not doing and we're doing. Like, hey, I'm writing, but I'm not writing. Guess what? I had a brain fart. Want to see what I got in my office? I do that stuff.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your experiences of self-publishing. It's amazing how self-publishing has changed so much over the years. When I first started, you needed $3,000 or more to publish your books, and now you still can use that 3,000, but you're not going into debt trying to publish a book if you do it the right way. So I'm thankful for you all sharing your experiences and the tools that we need to get our books out there, because we're not waiting on the gatekeepers anymore.
Thank God they're gone.
Putting our own stuff out there. I met somebody today this week. She told me she published 17 books this year, and I was like, "Woo!" But she's really fast, and so she said, "If I wait on a publisher, I'd be still waiting on that one book instead of 17." I said, "Yep." So
right.
don't be scared like I was. I was very scared of releasing my book. I was writing this stuff. I just was scared of releasing it. But with the help of my friend Phyllis and my other friends, they pushed me off the couch, and I'm working on getting these books into print. So that's my next step, is putting them in print now. And you guys gave me some great tips on what I need to do. So I'm going to get them out there.
Yay.
Great.
Yay. I'm excited. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
They not hot, so okay.
But it's still good. Listen, you know my name. So I'm the exception to the rule. Don't pay me no mind. Flames, don't pay me no
sweet
mind.
romance. I write sweet romance. All right. With lots of conflict.
That's why we need people like
lots
you.
of drama. You want some drama? Come on. I got some drama. I'm a soap opera woman. I love soap opera stuff. That's what I write. Soap operas.
I like that. I come to you and get the soap opera, take a little bit, and then sprinkle over here with some flames. So
okay. All right, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you for our listeners today. If you was watching this, thank you so much for watching today. We got 2 more panels to go. And I hope to see you back here so we can talk about some marketing, because that is a hot topic with writers. We need to know about marketing, and we also need to know the business side. What is you? So you got this one book. We were talking to EA Noble today about that you need almost 9 streams of income from that one book. Do you know those 9 streams of income? So come back and let's talk about the business side too. Thank you so much for being here today for the book festival. Go into the book festival group and read some of these comments these people are right now. They give some good tips in there. So go in there and have some fun. Thank you.